Hi guys, back here with another video. This is going to be a comparison video between a Altair made HD Block Big Eagle versus ORM SD 2K Big Eagle. Both these belts are very well made. I've done reviews on both of these belts on my YouTube channel, so this isn't going to be a in-depth review. If you guys want to see those, they are on my channel. This is going to be a comparison between the two belts, SD versus HD, differences in the leather, the plating, and all that sort of stuff. So let's get into the comparison. As you can see, both of these are very similar designs. The only big difference is this one has the WWF scratch logo in white. This one has an all gold WWF Block logo with a blue background. This has the black background. Another difference, the Block logo has the blue strap with brown croc backing. The 2K version has the black strap with standard black leather backing. Jamar made both of these belts. Another big difference, the bars on this one are cut out, so you can put your finger in there. It is fully cut out. But on the real belt, these did snap really quickly. So on this one, Jamar made everything a part of the plate. So this bar is part of the plate and it's painted black, so you couldn't really tell that it wasn't cut out unless you looked and saw the reflection of the black paint. Personally, I do prefer this. It's just a bit more secure and makes sure that the bar doesn't break. To be honest, only the TV ones break. I've never had, anybody say, or never seen or heard anybody say that the bar has broken after having the Eagle or the Big Eagle, unless you physically try breaking it. Because on display, they're not going to go anywhere. But when Steve Austin had the Big Eagle, he did, throw it around and stuff, and the bar broke off really quickly in the first couple of weeks. But if you keep it on display, look after your belts, nothing's going to happen to them. It's a pretty thick bar. It's about 4.2 millimeters. It's just that the wrestlers, they don't really look after their belts. That's the only reason it broke. This isn't going anywhere if it's just on display. But on the other hand, this doesn't look too bad, and it does make the bar a bit more stronger. And it looks just as good, to be honest. You can't really tell. Next, let's get into the straps. So you've got the 2x7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2x6 on this one. The ORM Winged Eagle is slightly longer than the Block Logo Altair version. I think that's just the way that the makers have made their individual straps. I don't think that's down to any inaccuracy. You've got the similar Jamar style tooling. You've got this looks a bit more plain. It's got a very light texture with the nice beveling. WWF logo going all around. And then you've got the texture tooling. This seems a bit more textured than that one. Nice beveled lines. This one doesn't have any WWF logo tooling. This one has that mid-vest type of look, where the mid-vest belts cut off here with the shell design, and then the logo plates are in between the snap box and the end of the plate section. So this is more Midwest type of look. It's only on these belts where J-Mar started doing his own style. So this one, there's no tooling cutting off the logo plate from the side plates. It's just all one piece. And then the snap box starts here. On this one, I really like this. The snap box is right near the edge of the side plate, so there's not a lot of space. It is a nice look. Then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 2x10 snaps on the 2K. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 2x10 on the Big Eagle on the block version. So these were made to fit the bigger guys like Steve Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, Mankind, Triple H, and it did fit them better versus the Winged Eagle belt, which was a lot smaller. So that's it for the straps. You've got a tight cut going on the 2K. So as you can see, there's not a lot of space here. And the edges of the side plate come right to the edge, which I really like. It is a much more tighter cut. So is this one. I'd say this one is about the same. Not too much of a difference. Again, it does come down to individual preference of the maker. As you can see, it's a very tight cut on the center plate. The spikes are right up to the edge of the center plate. On this one, there is a bit more of a border. You can see some of that shell tooling with the beveled line. So this one does have more of an edge. To be honest, I prefer the look of this one if I was going to choose. I always liked the 2K one. I love the blue block logo because blue is my favourite colour, and I think the blue strap really works well with the block logo, with the blue background. But my favourite version is this one. I think the white logos look so good on the black background, and the white logos really work with the textured background here. Not that the block version looks bad. The WWF logo, the block logo, looks really good on this version. But if I had to choose, I would choose the scratch logo. So next, you've got property of World Wrestling Federation, J-Mar 2K, to mark the 2000s version. You can see the lettering is really good on this. It is standard definition. The paintwork is really good. You can see how deep the etching is, a good 1mm. Really nice paintwork. And then on this version, you've got the block logo. I like the way that the block logo looks. It's like tilted to the side. Then it says World Heavyweight Champion, J-Mar 1998. This is a bit of a bigger logo plate versus this one. I'd say the etching is about the same on this. A good millimeter, maybe slightly more. This is 4.2mm HD, where the standard definition are 4mm. I honestly don't think the 0.2mm really adds much, to be honest. Maybe a bit more weight, maybe they can get a bit of a deeper etch. But when you're looking at it overall, I don't think it really matters too much if it's 4mm or 4.2. Next, you've got the side plate. with the cubic. These are really nice stones, really nice texturing. With the block logo, you've got the sunburst pattern. On this one, you've got pretty much the same artwork with the sunburst pattern, the stones. Instead of the block logo, you've got a WWF logo in white compared to the all gold on the block logo. You've got texturing. If I had to choose, I think I would choose the texturing on this version versus this version. This one is really nice. It's more like a fine grain type of texture. Like if you were to pick up sand and put sand all over this part, it would have that sort of really fine feel and look. This one, it's got like a crushed concrete look. Now if you were to look at crushed concrete and put your hand on it like this, you'd get that gravel type of look and feel, and I think I do prefer this. Turn on the light, show you guys. You can see how nice that white logo pops against the gold texture. I think these are standard stones. I think they're glass, but I don't think they're Swarovskis or cubics. Really nice paintwork in the logo and the underscore. And you can see how well that texture comes through on camera. I do prefer the stones on this one. These are cubics. You can see the better quality and the clearness in these, and you can see the different colours in there as well. You can see the really nice texture. This texture is not bad by any means, but I just prefer the look of that gravel type of texture versus this really thin, fine texture. You can see how well the WWF Block logo looks. Next, you've got the lion with the Block WWF logo, sunburst pattern. On this one, you've got the lion with the WWF scratch logo. So here you can see the lettering is much clearer. You can read what it says. And then you can see the lions on the shield. Really well done. You can see the legs, the head, the tail. And then you can see the detail of the lion, the face, the nose, the eyes, the teeth, and you can see the tail as well. On this one, you can see the lettering, but it is a bit more difficult to make out. The HD letters are much more clearer. That is an advantage that HD has over SD. The small lettering and the fine text and the smaller details are much clearer. Not that this isn't clear, but you just can't make it out as well as the HD. The lines look pretty good on this. I'd say they're a bit more thinned out on this version. I think that's probably down to artwork. They look a bit more thinner on this version. And on this one, they do look slightly bulkier. Maybe that's down to art, I'm not sure. But again, you know, for standard definition, this is very well done. You can see the tail on the lion. You can see the fine details, the legs, the claws there, the feet. You can see the other claw of the lion, the nose, the face, the teeth. Let's see if there's a big difference. So here you can see the teeth, the nose, the eyes. I would say the features on the face are a bit more defined on the HD versus the SD. It kind of looks like everything is scratched in terms of detail, like there's just random shapes being drawn. You can tell it's supposed to be an eye and a nose and the teeth as well. But on the HD, you can definitely tell that these are supposed to be teeth. You can see the nose, the eyes. These plates are the same as the other side. Next, you've got the shield with the WWF scratch logo. As mentioned in my review, I think there is a bit of missing paint on the red. It does give it a bit of a ring-worn look, so that's not really too much of an issue for me. But again, if it does bother me, I will just get some red paint and fill it in. I'm not sure if that's down to the artwork or if it just wasn't painted. But you can see the nice WWF logo on the shield. Again, you've got the lion. I think the lion is definitely a bit more defined on the HD. Here you've got the Block WWF logo in the shield with the texture. Next, we've got the main plate. I think I prefer the blue on the ORM version. It looks a bit more TV accurate. It's much lighter shade of blue versus the darker blue. I think the etching is slightly deeper on the globe on the HD. As you can see, it is painted right up to the edges. Like when you're painting a wall, you paint upwards, so the edges are painted up. It gives it that flooded look, which really isn't the best thing to do. It kind of fills in all the details with paint. I'd say on this one, that problem is not there. This has been painted flat, so it does look a bit more defined. This has really good etching, really clear lines. There was a slight bit of blue missing on the globe, if I remember, right here. But again, that does give it a bit of a ring-worn look, so that's not too much of an issue. It is an easy fix, so it can be fixed. You've got the spikes from the sunburst pattern, really well done. They're really well filed down, so they're not sharp or anything. Same on this one. I'd say they're a bit more smoother on these, on this version. They seem a bit more polished and a bit more smoother. These ones are filed down, but they do have a slightly, like when you file something and it has that very slight grainy feel left over, this one has that. So if I were to choose, I would choose these. They are more smooth and better polished. Next, the Champio wording. is more clearer on the HD than it is on the standard definition. It looks more blockier, it looks more blurry and more block type instead of being able to read each individual letter. It's not that you can't read it, but it is much better on the HD. Next, you've got the globes. Of course, in the HD, you're gonna get a lot more detail. It's not that this detail is bad by any means. You can still tell what the land masses are and everything, but it does look a bit more defined on the HD. Same artwork, both of them have that straight line on the bottom and top of the globe. So if you look here, the HD etching leaves like a rounded edge to the plates, to the etching. So this is nice and round all the way. There's no, like, you can't really tell that there's a difference between the etched area and the flat part. But if you look here, I don't know how to explain it, but if you look here, I can get my finger and then I can get my nail underneath that WWF logo. So if you see here, you know, it kind of catches your finger when you do this. It is very sharp. You can cut yourself if you do this. That's left over by the SD etching on most belts. To be fair, it's not on all parts of this belt. It is on the pointy areas of the etching, so the pointed parts of the F and the W. But if you look at the globe, it's not there, so it's only on the pointed areas. So that is the advantage of the HD etching. It does etch everything evenly and right down to where you need it, and it doesn't leave any like lips to the etching, if that makes sense. So the etching has like a really small lip to it, and you can get your fingernail a bit underneath it. But you guys probably understand what I'm trying to say. Another difference, this has texture in the shoulders, and this one does not. I don't think. Let's see. It's got a very, I wouldn't say that's texture. It might be, but it looks like that grit line you get from the etching rather than texture. So I'm guessing they forgot to do that because, you know, it's definitely something someone like ORM wouldn't miss out, I don't think, because their artwork is really good, so is their attention to detail. You can see the detail here in the wings. Not bad. The lines are a bit more closer together. This is standard definition. Then you can see the feathers on the chest of the eagle, and you can see the face of the eagle as well. Here you can see the lines a bit better, the individual lines. Even though they are close together, you can tell that there are individual lines. You could probably count them if you wanted to. So that is a result of the HD etching. I'd say the feathers on the chest of the bird, or the eagle, sorry, are a bit more defined, and the face. I'd say the shape of the face looks about the same. I don't think there's a big difference. I think when it comes to the eye, the one on this one is a bit more better in terms of the detail in the eye. But that's about it, I think. So in terms of the leather, this one is heavier. I think that's purely down to the 4.2 millimeters. I know that I said earlier it probably doesn't make a big difference, but it does make a difference in the weight. This one is slightly lighter, not by much. Maybe they are the same weight, I'm not sure. If I had to choose, I would definitely choose the look of the brown croc backing. It looks and feels amazing. But again, you can't beat standard black leather. All of them have a good amount of bolts. Both of them have the center bolts and everything. In terms of flexibility, so you can see how flexible this is. ORM's leather is more flexible than the Altair one. I think that's down to the way that the leather is treated and, processed by each maker. But this is much better in terms of flexibility. It feels softer. I'd say this leather feels better, to be honest. This one feels thicker. I'm not sure if it is thicker, but it does feel thicker. It is a bit more stiff. I'm not sure if that's due to the paint, because the black dye normally soaks into the leather, and the coloured dyes like blue, yellow, purple, all of those sit on top of the leather, so I'm guessing that probably makes it a bit more stiff. This leather feels slightly thicker than this one. I think that's probably the reason for the flexibility as well. But the flexibility on this isn't bad by any means. This is a big belt, and it is, the flexibility is really good as well. In terms of colour, I'd say Altair is one of the best guys to do colour in overseas belts. You can see how well that blue looks. It is a fantastic looking colour. That's the reason I really love this belt. Blue is my favourite colour, so it really works on this belt. I think this is vinyl, so that does hinder the flexibility a little bit because it is vinyl. This is leather and it is much thinner than the vinyl. Both belts are strong enough to stand up by themselves. You don't need a stand. Even this one. So in terms of paintwork on these belts, if I had to choose the blue paint, I would definitely choose the one on the ORM. Other than that, the paintwork on both these belts is really good. I think I prefer the black paint on the ORM version. It is a bit more glossier. And the white logos look really good. They are very well done. Really nice, clean white paint. I'd say this is a bit more glossier than the Altair one. Not that the Altair paint is bad. but if I had to choose, I'd go for the ORM. In terms of gold plating, both these belts have really good gold plating. It's always personal preference. Some people like that yellowy gold. Some people do like a slightly darker shade of gold. If I had to choose, I would choose the gold on the Altair version. It does look a bit more darker. It looks a bit more richer. And I think the plates are slightly shinier than the ORM. This one is a bit more yellowy gold. I do know that most people prefer that as well, but it is down to personal preference. But if I had to choose, I would choose this gold on the Altair. It does look a bit more darker. I think this one has a bit too much of a yellowy look to it, kind of like the old WWE figures replicas, and then WWE updated their gold to make it a bit more darker, have a bit of a richer look to it. So that's a perfect example of both of these belts. This is what was kind of on the figs, that pale yellowy gold. And then when WWE Shop released their belts, it had that slightly darker, richer looking gold. But again, that is completely down to personal preference, if you prefer one or the other. But both of them are very well done. So guys, that's it for this comparison. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a thumbs up, leave a like, leave a comment. Share this video, share it to your friends. Share it to anybody who's interested in belts. That does help the video out in the algorithm, and it does boost the video in the views when you go into YouTube. Then it does help the video show up in the top videos. So if you guys can like the video, that'd be great. A lot of work goes into these videos. I never really said that before, but you know, it is a lot of work to make these video editing and then uploading everything. I think some people just give thumbs down for no reason, just for the fun of it. Unfortunately, I don't mind thumbs down if you got a legit reason to give the video a thumbs down. Give it a thumbs down. If I always like to talk to people in the comments. If they like the belt, if they don't like it, what could be better. I always interact with people in the comments. But unfortunately, when the videos do get a thumb down, that just pushes it down the algorithm. So when people search for Big Eagle belts or Big Eagle comparisons, then the video just won't show up, because it gets pushed down the list of those type of videos or similar videos. So again, I don't mind people that give thumbs down if there's a legit reason. Maybe they don't like the video. But I do feel that people, not just on my videos, on a lot of videos, that people just give thumbs down for the fun of it. But unfortunately, it does push the videos down a bit. So if you can give this video a thumbs up, that'd be appreciated. And as always, thanks for watching.